Hi. Give everyone a few minutes together. Get together. My coffee's still too hot. Still too hot. You didn't see that. Yes, I just had a thought. All right, well, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Um, how are you? I slept until 8:30 today, so I thought I was going to be late. I made it. I made it. Shocker. I know. Yeah, I slept until 8:30, and my husband got up at 8:30, and he gets the first shower because he actually has to get out of the house. So hair's wet. Don't care. It'll dry by the end of the stream. It dries really fast. It's very fine. I have baby hair and not a lot of it. Baby hair. So I was thinking about doing something really serious this morning, but I decided to put it off until tomorrow. Um, so excuse me. So tomorrow morning we will have something. I try to keep this light, or at least semi-light. But once in a while something comes up that needs to be discussed, and I have something like that for you tomorrow. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden got a coughing fit. So annoying. Probably because I got up late and I didn't have my morning coughing fit yet. Okay. So I guess we'll just jump into it. Um, this is from I Don't Work Here Lady, entitled Shopping with My Children. I Don't Work Here. So this happened a few years back. I have been enjoying these stories so much I thought I'd share one of mine. Yay, sharing. I went to Walmart with two of my children and heavily pregnant with my third. Been there, done that. I got the t-shirt. I was comparing toilet paper when a lady shoved her cart into my ankles. I was startled, but it didn't hurt much, and I usually assume accidents happen. I snapped my head in her direction, and she angrily shouted, "Where is your bleach?" I looked down the aisle and pointed down there. She snapped that I needed to show her and put it in her friggin' cart. I was all belly and but didn't look like it from behind. I turned around to face her, moving out of the way of my cart with my two children inside, previously shielded by me. I asked her what her problem was. To say she looked shocked was a hilarious understatement. I'd like to say she apologized when she realized she jammed her cart into an 8th-month pregnant woman shopping with two small children, but no. She doomed around me, grabbed the first bleach she saw, and hightailed it out of the aisle. By the way, I was wearing a bright neon green dress. Had no idea how she thought I was an employee. First of all, don't shove your cart into people. That's so rude. Oh my goodness. So rude. I can't even express how appalled I am that somebody would do that. Um, you could really hurt someone. You don't know people's uh, disabilities, level of pain, their pain thresholds, or anything. And I bruise. I would have a bruise. I would have a bruise. Even if it didn't hurt, I would have a bruise. My husband calls me a banana because I bruise. Next, we have best of Redditor updates. Oh, I usually put this at the end. Darn. Um, I learned the real reason my left ex left me. New update. Um, so this has mental health issues, unaliving attempt, infertility. So trigger warning. Trigger warning on all Borus. They're almost all got something in them. Obligatory original was posted May 3rd, 2025. So not too long ago. Obligatory throwaway account is people in my life know my usual account. Posting because I really don't know how to feel about this and I just need to get it off my chest. Sorry for the long post as there's a lot to unpack. Okay. Backstory first. So around 2 years ago, my ex-fiance, who I'd been in a relationship with for almost 10 years, unceremoniously just left me. It never made it never fully made sense to me as there were no warning signs. We were actively planning our wedding and finally agreed to have a baby as we were both in our 30s and time was ticking. Well, thank goodness they weren't married. Then one day he just started acting sort of off. Wasn't saying I love you before he left for work for the day. Was spending more time out drinking with his friends than he was home. He'd been struggling with his mental health since COVID lockdown, so I assumed he was having a bit of a back downward spiral. So I sat down with him one day and asked him if everything was okay with him. He had tried to brush it off initially and kept saying he was fine. So I changed the question and asked if we were okay. He looked like he really didn't want to answer, so I asked again, and he paused. In that moment, I knew it was over. I asked if he still loved me, and he said he loved me, but he wasn't in love with me anymore, and that was it. Within a week, He had moved on, leaving 90% of his belongings to be collected at a later date to serve as a constant reminder he was just gone. To say it hit me hard was an understatement. I spiraled massively. I was at the lowest point I've ever been in my life, and so I tried to end it all. It just hurt too much feeling like there was something so wrong with me that that he just had to leave. Oh, that's terrible. Usually when somebody leaves you, it's not that there's anything wrong with you, it's just that they had another path to follow. It's not on you. It's so sad that she had everything so invested in this one guy. Don't invest all of your feelings in one person. Fortunately, a friend managed to get me to the hospital before I did any serious damage to myself. While I still felt awful about myself most of the time, it got easier. I ended up dating that friend a few months later. A lot of people said it was too soon to move on, but honestly, I never set out to have another relationship at all. But his constant support, presence, reassurance that there was nothing wrong with me, made sorry. A lot of people said it was too soon to move on, but honestly, I never set out to have another relationship at all. But his constant support, presence, and reassurance that there was nothing wrong with me made me want to spend time with those who truly give a crap about me. And in time, we developed feelings for each other. We had a beautiful relationship filled with love, laughter, and much to our surprise, I ended up pregnant 9 months into our relationship. We decided to keep the baby, even though our relationship was still in the early stages, and 9 months later, our beautiful daughter was born. We are still as strong as ever today and continuing to build an amazing life together as a family. On to present day. I guess my ex has been reflecting on the past recently due to a lot of deaths in his family, and his mother, who I'm still close to, reached out to ask me whether I'd be willing to meet up with him as he had something to get off his chest. She didn't know what he wanted to talk about, as it was something he could only discuss with me, but she would understand if I said no. I decided to think about it for a few days before I agreed that I would meet up with him at a local coffee shop. Honestly a good move. You get some closure that way. I got there early because Mama needs her caffeine fix with these early morning wake ups and night feeds. I was already sat down when he came in, and he gave me the saddest looking smile while merely just nodded to him and motioned for him to sit down and get out whatever he needed to tell me. I was a bit speechless at what he had to say. He said that when we started trying for a baby, there was nothing happening, even though we were closely tracking my ovulation cycle and testing every day for that sweet spot. He realized something wasn't right, so he secretly took a day off of work to see a fertility doctor. They found that due to an undiagnosed issue in one of his testicles, the likelihood of him ever being able to conceive a biological child of his own was incredibly low. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. He still has the other one. Even at half, there's still lots and lots of little guys swimming around in there. He knew I loved him so deeply that I wouldn't give up my dream of having children just for him, and he said I couldn't live with that on his conscience. I deserve to have the life and family I always wanted, only with someone else. He kept apologizing profusely for hurting me so much that in the process tried to rationalize that I got what I wanted at the end, so his plan ultimately worked. Wow, that's sad too. Like, don't do that. Like, there are other ways to have kids. There's fertility treatments, even on the guy's end. And that doesn't sound like if it was only one of us, that doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, it would be half. So you get them to concentrate the spermies. I think they can do that. Pretty sure they can do that. I ultimately sat there silent for a few minutes and just looked at him dead in the eyes and said if that was never his decision to make. He took my choice away and nearly destroyed me in the process. Then I got up and left. It's been a few days and I'm still processing. My partner knew I was meeting up with my ex and he knows something is up, but giving me space until I really feel like talking about it. But honestly, I'm in shock. I'm shook. Sorry. Honestly, I'm shook. Did my ex honestly think I'd be like, okay, thanks for letting me know when then we'd all be friends again? So And there's an edit about updating the post, and it's in her profile. Wow. Yeah, that makes no sense to me. None at all. I think the guy's either lying or this is made up. But yeah, if you have a fertility problem, discuss it with your spouse. There are other ways to have kids. There are. I disrespect. The first comment, relevant comments. He was having an affair and is now over and reflecting. He used a lie to make himself seem like a martyr. OP. I did suspect that for quite some time. There was a girl in our friend group he had become oddly close to over the last year of our relationship. She was one of the main people he was going out drinking with when I started realizing something wasn't quite right. So my mind didn't go there for a while. He ended up moving in with her as housemates after he moved out. She tried coming over to collect the remainder of his things. I was pretty mad and said I didn't consent to her being there, and if she didn't want to leave my property, I called the police on her for trespassing. I don't believe anything was ever actually going on there, though, as I heard through the grapevine she was seeing some drug dealer shortly after my ex moved in with her. I mean, people date drug dealers sometimes. Not saying who. Ride C 3607. Absolutely, your ex boyfriend had no right to take your choice in the matter. Did he know about your failed attempt? Why did he not come back then and admit that it was all a mistake? Because you could have had babies if you are dead, right? I think it's either he is an absolute moron or he is trying to give you some BS reason so that you think of him in a better light going forward. Totally a BS reason. OOP, yes, he was aware of the attempt. We had pretty good close knit group of friends, some of whom were really supportive afterwards. They made him aware. I got a I hope you're okay, sorry for everything message after he found out. I never responded, and it was at that point I blocked and deleted his number and all of his socials because I couldn't trust myself not to drunk message him, begging for him to come back. Inky Pinky Blinky Clyde, I love Reddit names, says there are other ways to deal with his infertility: donor sperm, adoption. The fact that he would rather have taken this decision from you than discuss options with you proves that he was not a suitable long term partner for you. There are lots of hard decisions couples need to make together, and he demonstrated that he was unwilling to give you a real agency in your life. You are better off now with your new partner. OOP. Oh, I know, I'm absolutely better off. My current partner is very much opposite of my ex, which was why it was such a surprise that developed feelings for him. He's extremely different than my usual type, but he's a good egg. We had chance to talk about everything last night for our daughter is going through a bit of sleep regression, so late nights are pretty common for us at the minute. He was super empathetic and equally pissed. I got my first period since having the baby this morning, and he ran a bath and told me to go sulk for as long as I needed to. Bless him. Sulking is okay. You can sulk. It's okay. Don't take it to extremes, but sulking and wallowing when during a breakup, wallowing is okay too. Take a weekend, get some chocolate chip cookie dough, turn on some movies, um, get some ice cream, and just cry all weekend. And chances are you'll feel better on Monday when you go to work or school or whatever you need. But yeah, wallowing for a shorter period of time is very healing. Get out all those emotions. Update on the situation with my ex, May 8th, 2025, 5 days later. If you'd like to recap the original post. First of all, thank you for your lovely comments, messages of support. I was not expecting my post to blow up like it did. So I really wasn't expecting to make an update on my previous post. Definitely not this soon, but boy, does it get interesting. Ooh, now we're getting to the good stuff. So, of course, I plan to leave the situation alone at this point and completely put it behind me. However, my former mother in law, she was not your mother in law, she was your boyfriend's mom. My former mother in law reached out to me as I hadn't spoken to her in a few days, which is quite unlike that. I say that and then I consider my son's girlfriend my daughter in law. I am nothing if not inconsistent. But after you break up, yeah, you're not the former mother-in-law. A few people said in a few comments I should cut her off as well as the ex, but this woman was like a mother to me for almost 10 years. when I was going through difficulties with my own family. This woman opened her home to me, gave me a safe place if I needed to stay, and she has been more of a parent to me than my own parents, basically adopted me as a daughter that she had always wanted. So when I say we are incredibly close, I genuinely mean it, regardless of anything that happened to her son. We have a really strong relationship outside of that. Yeah, I understand exactly where she's coming from. My mother-in-law was wonderful. And to my one of my brother-in-laws also. We say that she was a better mom to us than our moms. We typically have a good catch up once a week and message in between. Nothing I say to her gets passed on to her son, from what I can gather. The trickles of information he gets through the grapevine of the group of friends we mutually share. So when she reached out to see if I was okay yesterday, I decided to pop over and catch up with her. Turns out she came clean when she asked exactly what had gone on, as she hadn't heard from me. It says heard off me, but I think she meant heard from me for a few days, and she was worried. She went absolutely ballistic at him and currently is not speaking to him at all. I hope that blows over. I mean, he's an adult, but he needs his mom. Then she told me something I did not know and something I assumed she'd known all along. It turns out when he was born, he had undescended testicles. He had the surgery to correct them, but there was always going to be a chance that he would have fertility issues in adulthood. He was meant to go in for checkup once he passed puberty to see whether there was any lasting damage, and he claimed to his mother he had gone to these and everything was fine, but neither of us actually believed this. So the entire time we discussed having children, he knew there was a possibility that he was shooting blanks, but neglected to let me know this for 10 freaking years. Yeah, dude, come on. Bear in mind that makes more sense than the one testicle thing. Guy's even lying when when he's confessing. He's still lying. What a dolt. Oh my goodness. Bear in mind we were probably having unprotected sex for 2 years of our relationship, not actively trying, but we had agreed if something happened, we would be happy about it. So I think that when we were actively trying to have a baby and nothing happened, it sort of gave him the mental tip off that not all was well. And he finally decided to get that checkup he'd been putting off. I'm flabbergasted, guys. In regard to my partner and my relationship, we are absolutely fine. He's used to my sulky episodes. Haha. I did eventually fill him in after a few days of being mildly annoyed, and he agreed that it was super effed up, and we agreed with a lot of the comments that his timing for telling me all this was comical. Absolutely comical. That his timing for telling me all this was absolutely comical. We did suspect for a while that the real reason he decided to leave was cheating initially because he'd gotten strangely close with one of the girls in our friend group, the majority of which dropped me like a hot crap once we split. Turns out there's nothing going on there. But another tidbit of my ex mom that she found out also, he's dating this girl's. Oh, sorry. But another little tidbit of my ex's mom that she found out, guys, he's dating this girl's 60-year-old mother. Well, I guess if he's dating a 60-year-old, I'm 60. There's very little chance that she'll want a baby. Oh my god, what a dork. Oh jeez. Good lord, his life is a dumpster file. I don't even think I'm mad anymore, just mildly amused. Absolutely done with that. New update. I thought we were done. Another update, sigh. July 16th, 2025. So this sat in my drafts for a few weeks and I forgot to post it. I so badly wanted to be done and over and done with all of this, and I honestly wasn't expecting to have anything else to say on the matter, despite the fact that I've had people message me for updates. Sorry for any mistakes. It's late and I'm running on for about 3 hours of sleep. Life has been peaceful and had returned to its pre-drama state, and I'd pretty much shoved everything in the back of my head because, in all honesty, while the revelation might have shocked and temporarily upset me, I just decided to nah. I just decided to I can't say it. I just decided to compartmentalize. Yeah, there we go. I just decided to compartmentalize and move on. So it turns out, thank you, Redditor, for messaging me for an update. My post got ripped by one of those dumb content creators who play an AI voice recording of Reddit posts over Minecraft videos. Well, I don't like those. I honestly find the pages to be absolutely abhorrent. They take someone's trauma and monetize it without even getting any form of consent from the OP, but I digress. Well, sorry, OP. You posted on a public forum and we're discussing it. So these videos were posted all over socials and got thousands of views. So I was getting way more attention than I expected and honestly got a little overwhelming. Lo and behold, video manages to land itself on one of the mine and my ex's mutual friends for you page. The video circulates to their friend group and they're speculating as to whether it's about me and the ex or not because there are a lot of similarities. Before I know it, I'm getting Facebook messages off fake profile demanding I remove the post or make another post saying that everything was fake and that I owe him one. I've since had to delete my Facebook because every time I blocked an account, another would pop up messaging me again. Jacob, I know you're reading this. You're not some big effing hero that made my life what it is today. My life is what it is today because I put in the work to get myself better, in a better place after you effed me up. And you are still trying to F me up, but I'm finally at the point where I see you for what you are, a manipulative narcissist. Ooh, she finally got mad at him. She finally got mad at him. Good, good. You are not some grand arbiter of fate. What happened happened, and you only have yourself to blame for the fact that your life went to crap. Go and get some therapy over this and get over this crap like I did. Stop trying to message my family. Up comment is F off Jacob 1010. Love this energy. I'm so glad she finally got mad at him. Oh, he is such a jerk. And he lied. He lied to her for 10 years. He lied to her even more at the end. And he lied to her in his confession. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. Ugh. Sorry, Opay. Didn't mean to go against your thing, but you did post it in a Reddit thread that is very public and people do make content off of it. There might have been a less public thread you could have maybe posted. Like there are a few I won't read. There are a few Reddit subs I won't read. And I'm not making money off of this. This is just for fun. If I make money off of it, fine, but I'm not doing it to monetize it only. And those ones where the AI voice, those are horrible. Those are horrible. Like Dusty Thunder and tell Megan to get on. Tell Megan to get on the stream. Good morning. Oh, you just missed a good one. She didn't want it read. Excuse me. She's not allowed to do that. People are not allowed to work. They need to be here at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's okay that you're late. I don't care. People are free to come in and out. It's at least an hour long right now. I've already been on for half an hour and only read two posts, so you're not that far behind. Sorry. Oh, by the way, I got up late and haven't had my morning cough. uh, so the next one we're gonna read is from Am I Overreacting? AIL for towing my roommate's boyfriend from my paid parking spot. No, no. Already have an answer. No. I am 31 female and I share a two-bedroom apartment with a 27 female roommate. Our building has a few parking spaces that are reserved for tenants, which I pay an extra $180 a month. Holy cow. That's a lot of money. $180 a month just to park your car. Jeez. Our building has a few parking spaces that are reserved for tenants, which I pay an extra $180 a month for because I work late shifts and I don't want to have to look for a parking space to park on the street at 1 a.m. When she moved in, I made it very clear that my parking space is mine and that the lease contains a rule about towing unauthorized cars in paid for tenant spots. She told me that she understood. A few weeks later, her boyfriend started borrowing my spot without permission. I left a note and sent her a text to inform her nicely that the first time. Second time, I found him while I was coming back from the store and asked him nicely not to park in the spot because it's not his and I pay for it. So I'd like to use it. He laughed and said it was just a few hours. I ended up parking on the street and caused me to get a $75 ticket. Well, that's your own fault. If you're not allowed to park on the street, don't do it. I've had tickets on my car when I know I was parked in the right area. The, you know, in our college town, you park on one side of the street one day and the other side the next day. And it went back and forth. Like on even days, you parked on one side, and on odd days, you parked on the other side. I was parked on the odd side. I was supposed to be parked on the odd side. I had a ticket on my car. It was somebody who parked on the wrong side. That must have been during the night. Like, dude, you really think that I can't read this? You still have that ticket outstanding, as far as I know. The third time was the worst. I came home at midnight. His car was already parked in my parking spot. I drove around for half an hour, finally parking on the street, and once again ended up with a $75 ticket. Stop parking on the street, dolt. Sorry, dolt is my word for the day, I think. I texted my roommate and asked her to make things right. She replied that she was sorry but didn't offer to pay me back and assured me it wouldn't happen again. Last Thursday, it happened again. When I go there at 1 a.m., I saw his car just sat there with an awful feeling in my stomach. I took a picture of the plate and the reserve sign with my number, and I called the tow company that was listed in the lobby. They came in 20 minutes, towed his car, so I parked mine and went to my room and went to sleep. Good for you. That's what you should have done the second time. The second time you did it, that's what you should have done. About an hour later, my friend barges into my room in panic, says her boyfriend went down to it and his car was gone. She yelled at me saying that I should have called him first and asked to move the car and not have it towed. No, you should not have parked in the spot. She's asked you not to numerous times. I said I had already called her many times and she didn't want to help me. Instead, I got multiple parking tickets and she told me I was doing too much and it's not that big of a deal. It is that big of a deal. Now he has to pay $275 to get his car back. Good. The next day, she wanted me to cover the towing fee, and I told her I would be more than happy to split the difference if she covered my parking tickets first and the next month's parking fee, since I could not use the space. She says I'm blackmailing her, and I went too far with the towing. Don't park in the space. It's not that hard. Right now, the atmosphere of our excuse me. Right now, the atmosphere of our spot place is super awkward and tense. Maybe she could have tried calling one more time, but I paid for the spot and I wanted to use it. I've asked many times that she never cared to help me, and did I overreact by towing her car? No. No. It's not like you towed it the first time it was there. And if you would have towed it the second time it was there, you would have been perfectly justified because you told them, "Don't park in my spot." It's not that big of a request. The top commenter, Select Efficiency, says, "I would have called the tow truck the second time." See? See, I'm right. Nyoka. Mike is always right. I would have called the tow truck the second time when he was laughing about the space. You're nicer than I am. I would say to the roommate once clearly, I hope he learns from this not to take things that aren't his. As for you, I hope you consider that a man who disrespects others will disrespect you, and then stop talking about it. If they bring it up again, say, we've said all there is to say on this matter. You might ask your apartment complex if there is a camera that you can view your car because this guy may try to damage it out of spite. Get a good loud car alarm if you don't have one. And consider getting a new roommate because this one doesn't understand right from wrong. Yeah, this roommate situation is not going to go well now. Edit. I see that she moved into your place. Check your local laws, but since she's moved in, that means she can move out. Suggest that she find a space with more parking. You don't have to accommodate her. You get to choose. Yeah. Yep. See, I knew I was right. Yeah, I would have called the second time. Like, you discussed this. It was clear. Don't park in my spot. And I can see why she um wants to pay for the spot if she gets home at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Especially being female, we all know. All us females know how that goes. You want to be as close to your uh, place as you can be. Parking is a real issue at some of these places, though. They really need to figure out how much parking people need when they build a complex. Now we will go on to malicious compliance. Landlord maliciously compliance themselves. Okay, that sounds interesting. This happened a few years ago in my last apartment. My roommate and I were living in a basement place with upstairs neighbors, and the owner decided he wanted to sell. The upstairs neighbors ended up buying it and it became our new landlords. That could be good or bad. They were, oh, sorry, and they were awful at it. I could fill a whole post with the amount of stuff they tried to get away with, but we're here to talk about one particular instance. But suffice to say, they had no idea landlords had responsibilities and simply saw us as tenants as a source of income that should be ever growing, hence our rent suddenly spiking and why we left. But there was one time they maliciously compliance themselves. See, they had a habit of trying to push stuff on us that was blatantly illegal. Their first contract, for example, said among other things that they had the right to enter the apartment at any time they wanted and could go through our stuff if they wished because we were living on their property. No, no, that's illegal. It's highly illegal. I pointed out that this was highly illegal, see? They grew very upset, saying, well, we'll see about this. This clause later suddenly became the real one before we signed. One day, however, our lone fire alarm stopped working. As dutiful tenants, we reached out and said, hey, the fire alarm stopped working. They probably mean smoke detector. The response was a predictable sort of, so what? We need to have a working fire alarm, I said, and the landlord's duty to provide working fire alarms. No, it's not. You want one, you get one. The law says otherwise. This is where they maliciously compliance themselves. Possibly because they were getting tired of being corrected. They got snooty with this when I got a very sarcastic response. Oh, it does it? We'll just see what the fire marshal has to say about that. Me and my roommate, upon receiving this message, burst out laughing, but they were serious. They thought they were going to contact the fire marshal. Fire marshal. They thought they were going to contact the fire marshal. He was going to side with them. And then they could come down on us hard. I don't know what their expressions were when we said, okay, do that. However, the next morning there's frantic knocking at the door. It's the landlord and his family looking very concerned with a bag of brand new fire alarms, one for each room, and as I recall, even two spares. He begs to be let in outside of the 24-hour limit. Says it's an emergency. He has to put these alarms up right now. I try not to laugh and let them in, and they hurriedly put one in every single room, apologizing profusely for the delay and telling us if you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. Oh, these jerks. I don't know how that meeting with the fire marshal went, or if they got him or someone else in their office, but their attitude painted a pretty clear picture of the ultimate result. They complied maliciously, thinking they'd call our bluff. Oops. Yeah, yeah, it is true that the department is in charge of fire smoke detectors. Almost always smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Oh, that's a good one. I had a friend who's a coworker, coworker friend. I still consider her a friend. Um, whose landlord decided that they were going to fix the fan in their bath and wired it wrong and the place burned. Luckily I think the smoke detectors worked, but they lost almost everything. It was pretty bad. Our next our next subreddit is entitled people, and it is entitled "What Makes You More Important Than Me," which is a question we should all ask ourselves. What makes you more important than someone else? You're not. Okay. I'm not. You're not. So back in the day, my husband bought me a laptop from Sainsbury's. This must be I've never heard of Sainsbury's. I'm guessing this may not be in the US, but or in a part of the US I have not been to. And I needed to return an exchange for a different model. As he worked there, we got a chunky discount, so it made sense. I waited for one of the two lads working in electronics to become free and off. We went to the laptop area to discuss options. After a couple of minutes, a lady came over and asked him for help. He looked at me, back at her, and told her he was dealing with me and there was another assistant at the desk, so she trotted off without issue. I smiled at him, told him not to worry, and we carried on discussing my options when another lady did the same thing. I'm well aware I have resting bitch face, being a middle-aged menopausal woman, but let him handle it again until she insisted on helping her. Ugh. But let him handle it again until she insisted on him helping her first. Okay, don't interrupt workers when they're assisting other customers. That's rude. I asked her in my sweetest tone, "Excuse me, what makes you more important than me?" And she just looked at her and just looked at her. She stood there and said, "It'll only be a minute." And I asked her again, no smile, no sterner tone. She sputtered, looked at the assistant who directed her to the desk, and harumphed away. My lovely young man couldn't contain his giggles as she left, stating that was the best shutdown he'd ever seen, and he was a little scared of me, to which I gave him a huge smile and laughed with him. Sort I think this then sorted me out with my current model, and it that does everything I need and more. Don't mess with grumpy buggers, cheeky mare. Yeah, once you're in your 60s, just don't care anymore about what people think. Actually, I got it like in my 50s. I don't care anymore. Like, bug off, people. Bug off. I'm generally nice. I hope. I think. Although my kids' friends are scared of me. They always have been. I don't know why. I'm like 5 foot tall. Why are you scared of me? Why are you scared of me? I'm teeny tiny. Well, I'm big, but I'm small. I'm short. This next one is from AITAH. It is called AITA for going to work after being told I needed to babysit, which meant my dad's wife had to cancel her appointment and be with my half siblings. They tell me they're scared. Lauren says they're not scared exactly, but they've said I'm scared of you. This happened on Saturday. I, 17 male, was scheduled to work. On Thursday, Heather, dad's wife, told me I needed to call out Saturday because she had a doctor's appointment and someone had to babysit my half siblings. Three, oh, three of them, three and under. I told her I wasn't calling out and she needed to find someone else. Like, yeah, you don't disturb, especially a 17-year-old, a kid who's probably on their first job. You don't have them call out. It will not go well for them at their work. My dad works Saturdays and he told me his job was more important than mine and I didn't need to be so locked in on work and school that I ignore my family anyway. So I should call out of work and enjoy the day of being a big brother. I told him I wasn't doing that and I'm going to work whether they like it or not. Good for him. He should be going to work. Your children are your responsibility, not your oldest child's. I always tried to make sure that my oldest child was not responsible for my other ones intimidated. Why? Do I have resting bitch face? I thought I had resting nice face. Everybody else talks to me. She says they're intimidated by me. I don't know why. I don't know why. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Your kids are your responsibility, not your children's responsibility. You are the parent. They are not. I always tried to make sure my oldest was not left in charge too much. I didn't want to rely on him for childcare. Um, which is why I didn't really start working until the oldest one is. Yeah, no, your oldest can't cook. He can cook, he just doesn't. He's a lazy bum. Don't tell him I said that. He can cook. I've seen him cook. I taught all of you to cook. All right. So my dad left the house way early Saturday morning, and then Heather told me her appointment was for 9 and she was leaving at 8 so I could watch the kids. Instead, I skipped breakfast and left for work early and ate breakfast somewhere else. Heather was getting ready when I left, and she tried calling me, but I kept walking. LOL. I got 10 calls from Heather before those stopped, and then around lunch, I got 5 calls and 4 texts from Dad saying I was supposed to babysit. And did I realize I cost Heather her appointment? Sounds like Heather problem. Sounds like a Heather problem. I ignored his calls and texts. I got home around 3, and Heather was yelling and cussing me out, saying I knew she had the appointment. My only response was she knew I wasn't calling out of work. She tried to take my phone, but I refused to hand it over. Yeah, she shouldn't be taking his phone. She's not his mother. Dad got home around 7 and he was pissed too. He lectured me on leaving Heather without someone to babysit and not taking the time to be there for my half siblings. I told He told me I might not want to be with them, but as a member of the family and a member of the household, I owe it to everyone to contribute and to make time to help. He does not owe anything to anyone. You owe him. He does not owe you. You are the parent. He said my half siblings didn't deserve to be walked out on like that, and Heather didn't deserve to miss a doctor's appointment because I'm spiteful that he remarried and want us all to be a real family. Oh God. Ugh. Ugh. He does. He works really hard. He's not a lazy bum. Only when it comes to cooking. He can grill really wood though. He'd survive. You can survive by grilling. That's just proof that you can cook. If you can grill, you can cook. And cooking is not that hard. Like look how many people cook. It's not that hard. He told me I need to start working on family relationships before I have none left. Then yesterday morning they expected me to apologize or act remorseful, and I'm not. I have zero regrets, and I went to work as normal yesterday. The reason I focus so hard on work and school is that I don't want to live with them a second longer than I have to. I'm saving to get out and go no contact, and I work every chance I get. My dad's aware of that, of what I'm up to, but I don't think he really believes I'm serious. AITA. No, no. Um, the fact that this kid wants out even before this incident tells me that they're not treating him correctly. You cannot push a family relationship on a teenager. You can't. Heather needs to be friends with OP, not a parent. And they need to understand, even if they were both the parents of OP and the others, it's not OP's responsibility to watch the kids, especially if he has prior obligations. Even if he had a party to go to, that's a prior obligation. Um, and work is definitely a prior obligation that he needs to do. It's responsible of him to go to work. It's irresponsible of the parents to expect him to call out from work. Because when you call out from work, you're inconveniencing all the other people at work that have to fill in for your absence. No, not cool, these parents. Not cool at all. So Forward Plenty says, NTA, I think your dad should take his own advice. He needs to start working on family relationships with you before he has none left. Because you are a family doesn't mean they get to take advantage of you and force you to call out of work. They need to find someone else to do childcare when you are not available. And somebody replied, a cynical overlord replied to that. Are these your dad's kids? Why isn't he the obvious one to take care of him? While not ideal, there are very few doctor's appointments that you really can't take kids to. That's true. That's true too. Although if it was an OB appointment, she's probably pregnant again or something. 4 kids under 4. That sounds fun. Now it makes me think they're in one of those weird religions where you have as many kids as as fast as you possibly can. I wonder how old Heather is. I wonder how old Heather is too. Well, he's not responsible. Lauren says he always cooked for himself. Yeah, he's not responsible for cooking for you. It's not your parent. Oh, so our little break time. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that you know when I go live. And likes and subscribes. Um, yeah, the quiverful people. I know what they're called. Like and subscribe because that helps the algorithm, helps other people find me. And if you like it, other people might like it. And that's how you get to share. I do try to go live at least 4 times a week, usually around 10 in the morning. Sometimes we'll have special episodes on the weekends if somebody else is busy. If you have a story of your own or one you came across in the wild, you can email biddybirchbunch, all one word, at gmail.com, and I might read it for our brunch. Put in the title submission so that'll catch my attention. And tomorrow we will have our opening segment will be something really important. Okay, we're going on now to what should I do? My roommate keeps eating my groceries, but also does all the cooking. I'm confused. This is kind of weird, lol, but I live with this guy for about 8 months and he constantly uses my stuff from the fridge without asking, like my cheese, vegetables, sometimes even the fancy coffee beans I buy. At first I was pretty annoyed, but didn't really say anything. The thing is, he always cooks dinner for both of us when he uses my stuff. Honestly, the food is really good, like restaurant quality sometimes. He he never asks permission, but he always also never lets me go hungry, and I haven't had to cook in weeks. Okay, restaurant quality? You mean upscale restaurant quality or just restaurant quality? Because home cooking is better than, non-upscale restaurant quality. I tried bringing it up once, and he just said, "Oh, I thought we were sharing," and then made this insane pasta dish. My friends say I should set boundaries, but I'm also saving money on takeout and eating way better than I used to. Should I let this keep happening, or is this going to become a problem down the line? I feel like I'm being a doormat, but also my belly is happy, lol. Plus, I have some money aside from a steak win, and I'm not trying to spend on unnecessary stuff. It's not like I'm spending more on groceries, but I'm pretty conflicted about this. I don't know. It seems like this is a pretty good exchange. Um, you buy the food, he cooks the food. There's value in cooking food. Um, yeah. I mean, you might want to tell him lay off the coffee beans because those are expensive, and I don't see how he could be um using. I mean, unless he's using them to cook something like brownies with coffee is really good. But um, I don't know. Maybe sit down and make sure that he knows that you're gonna provide the food if he keeps making the food. Saving money on takeout is a win-win. As long as you're not spending any more money, I don't see a problem with letting him cook. Let him cook. He enjoys it, and you enjoy eating. Sounds like a win-win to me. Top commenters, cowpoke. Let him cook. I would keep buying food and possibly ask him for a list of what he needs. Exactly. Yep. The next one is same, same. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a win-win. I say keep doing this. Now, I did have a roommate who kept accusing me of eating her food that I didn't eat. I don't know who was eating her food. It was not me. It was not me. I do not have, that I know of, a history of eating food while sleeping. So, um, she would lose. She never talked to me about it. She would leave passive aggressive notes, and it was things like German chocolate cake. I don't eat German chocolate cake. I hate coconut. I don't like coconut. At the time, I was rather lactose intolerant. She'd accuse me of drinking her milk. I was not drinking her milk. I didn't do dairy products at all. So I suspect since her boyfriend had a key to the apartment, he was coming in and eating her food. But she's blaming it on me. And he had to know because there's notes all over the place saying, "Don't eat my food." I did eat some of her food after she started leaving notes because, petty revenge. But I wasn't eating her food. I suspect it was a boyfriend. Highly suspect it was the boyfriend. But why didn't he tell her? They're married now. I think they're still married. I don't know. They might not still be married, but they got married. Um, excuse me. Still getting better. I'm like, an hour, almost an hour in, and haven't lost my voice yet, so that's good. Next one is entitled Karens, entitled Family of Karens. Hello. That's a nice, friendly start. I, 19 female, work retail. Every job I've worked has been in retail to some degree, so I've had seen my fair share of crazies and rude customers. Although today was one of the worst reactions I've ever had with quite possibly anybody. I don't know if this is a significant detail to add here, but I am on the autism spectrum. I mean, it can be. Good for you. Good for you getting a job, getting out there and working retail because that's difficult for neurotypical people. I get overwhelmed easily. I struggle with social cues. I can shut down in hard times, and I often have a hard time having my face match my voice. Same with the inverse, voice matching my face or my intentions. So today I was scheduled in the fitting room, which is a pretty chill position. Just help customers out when they come to you and sort clothes as needed. Today was a particularly slow day, and customers were sparse, which I didn't mind one bit. It gave me more time to check the rooms every so often to make sure they were cleaned up and nothing was left in them, which I appreciated. Yeah, it's always nice to have a slow day once in a while. Although sometimes it makes it seem like a long day. Fast forward about an hour prior to closing time. I have a set time I usually start cleaning the fitting rooms, which involves me roping off the entrance and putting out a big sign with a button for customer service. I made sure all the stalls were free of items like hangers or number cards before I started anything else. I was about halfway through dusting off various surfaces when I heard some whispers and muttering from the entrance. Typically, I only come back if the button is pressed and or if I'm called over there to help, as to avoid misreading a situation by accident. This is where we are introduced to our main characters. A middle-aged woman, an old woman, and a kid. I'll call them Karen, Karen Sr., and Karen Jr. I hear the post holding the ropes being dragged to the side and a cart being pushed through. This behavior isn't condoned, so I just figured they didn't see the sign. I met them right as they tried to push their cart that's full of merchandise further back into the fitting room, giving them the whole "Hello, let me help you with those" spiel, to which they already seemed upset that I interrupted them. Yeah, yeah, you can already tell this is going to be a family, not a good one. The cart was blocking my way to the podium in which I count the items and retrieve numbers, so I asked once if they could scoot their cart back so I could get through. Karen moves the cart a foot at most, so I ask again if she could scoot the cart back, and she retorts, "No, it's fine where it is." I managed to squeeze through and stand at the podium. I think I would have pushed the cart, honestly. I mean, accidentally. Sorry, didn't mean to push the cart. I managed to squeeze through and stand at the podium, which is where I have to follow with another policy that we have. I tell Karen, "You can park your cart out here. I'll watch over it while you try your things on. We've got a nifty little cart parking area for both security and prevention loss measures." What does she do? I don't know. Park the cart, because that's what I would do. Not moving from beside the fitting room door, this is about 7-ish feet from the cart parking area. Karen gives a half-assed shove on the cart, vaguely in the direction of the cart parking. An attempt was made, and the cart ends up crashing into the side of the podium I'm still standing at. All of us, her and Karen Sr., are mumbling about how stupid this is. It genuinely reminded me of a child who isn't getting their way. Then she holds out her arm and stands with it extended, holding the items they are going to try on. She was easily at least 6 feet from me and staring with a smug look, not bothering to walk any closer to properly hand me anything. Karen then grumbles along the lines, "Do your job. Do you need to count these?" I nod and walk over, count the items, and bring her back her items and number. While I'm handing her the things back, I asked her genuinely, "Are you doing okay, ma'am? I know sometimes people can be having a rough day, and sometimes recognizing it can pacify their hostility. This is true." To which she snaps at me, Don't even start." Asked me about the chocolate pie incident. As they walk back to their room, I let them know if they need anything in the future, they can just hit the button on the sign and as they walk back to their room, I let them know if they need anything in the future, they can just hit the button on the sign I leave out, and I'll be right back there to help. That's what it's there for. All that earned me was a cacophony of huffs and eye rolls. It takes them about half an hour to get through just 6 things. During that time, I head back and let the manager know what was going on, and she told me she'd hang around until they got back out. The next part I took audio recording of because I figured there would be trouble. So around 10 minutes till closing, they finally come out. I notice they have 4 items on the hangers, 2 items off hangers. Sticking to my usual script, I asked them if they knew where the other hangers went. No biggie. Sometimes people will go back and get them, which is really nice. Sometimes they don't, which is okay. And Karen Sr. steps forward and says they left them in the room. Seeing how this interaction has gone thus far, I expected it. I didn't mind that part. However, Karen Sr. also decided to add, and if you get a load of them, and you've got a load of them in there too. And Karen piped up, ones that were already in there. We know that's not true because they already cleaned that out. As we know, I was cleaning just beforehand, and I am particular about making sure there isn't anything in there. And this person has autism, so they probably really, really make sure there's nothing in there. They can be very, shoot, logical is not the word, concrete in their thinking. The handicap stall, the one that these people were in, was one of the first ones I cleaned my nighttime duties, and no one had been in there since I had cleaned. This is what we call gaslighting. Yes, it is. What her goal was, I have no idea. So I told Karen, "Oh, I was just in there a second ago and made sure there weren't any. There was one pant hanger and I brought it out," to which she insisted I didn't look hard enough. I told her that I was in there not 2 minutes beforehand and made sure it was clean, and reassured her it was okay if they left hangers in there. It was no biggie. Karen Sr. started getting more upset, telling me they had 2 items and that there were 2 hangers back there that were theirs and a bunch more on top of it. She said in one of those stern, over-enunciated, talking to me like I was a child voices, "So apparently you passed that door up and you did coming to us. Hangers don't just appear." No, they don't just appear. Um, you wouldn't got them. We all know this. I then started heading out of the fitting room, and I could hear them mumbling to themselves, "What's wrong with her? What's her problem?" etc. Karen Jr. back at me a few times to give me a dirty look and flip her hair. Runs in the family, I suppose. I called after in the head and said, "Have a good night," and vaguely hear them call me, "You have a problem." Now it doesn't even end there. Oh my goodness, really? This could have been the end of this. This could have been the end of this. Karen Caesar drags the family back to the fitting room, drags my manager along with her, and tells her to go and look in the room they were just in to check, and says something about me having a very nasty attitude. So if her manager knows um, her work ethic, this is not going to work. So as I had crazily claimed, there were in fact only 2 hangers in that room. Karen Sr. immediately denied it and said, "Nope, there were more in there," while shaking her head as Karen tried to back her up. I went back to my podium, put the hangers back on the little hanger holder underneath, and I could hear Karen Sr. continuing to complain about my horrible attitude to my manager and trying to just overall cause a scene there. Sometimes when you're really nice to people like this, they get really mad for some reason. It's kind of funny. They eventually finally went out, and whilst loudly complaining about how horrible and terrible I was, even going so far as to go over to my coworker at the jewelry counter and harass her while loudly asking if she knew what my problem was, I think it's safe to assume they took the same behavior up to the cash registers, all while Karen Jr. kept looking back to see if she could get one more nasty glare in. What did my manager do? Got on me for provoking them. So bad manager, bad manager. I ended up having a panic attack in one of the fitting room stalls after that. I'm not typically good at keeping myself under control when I'm experiencing a giant wave of stress and negative emotions like that. I get that. I'm doing fine now, but I just worry. I want to see if my outlook was correct and I want to see if I was in the wrong in this situation. No, these people are just mean. They're just mean. Manager was Manager was not good. She did not handle that well. Proper manager would say, I know your work ethic, and I know that there were not a bunch of hangers in there. I know that. Don't worry about it. Those people are mean. Don't worry about it. Good managers have your back. My boss and another manager were talking in the office once when I was working, and a customer came in and started cussing at me. And my boss got up and went to the corner of the desk, and the other manager got behind me, and the other manager was a guy, and he said, "You will not talk to her like that." Good managers have your back. I hadn't even worked there that long at that time. I learned not to mess with me. I got called all kinds of names. This is why I don't read the comments. So you know. Um, this is from Traumatize Them Back. Friend, won't stop pushing my child-free boundaries. I'll ruin your fucking dinner. Oops, I said that. I said the F word. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm trying not to do that. Sorry. Friend won't stop pushing my child-free boundaries. I'll ruin your effing dinner. I saw a post recently of a woman whose aunt kept pressuring her about having kids, and it reminded me of my own experience with this. Many years ago, I, 37 female, had my first frenemy. Never before, never had one before, so my autistic ass didn't recognize the issues or patterns in her and just assumed my weird brain was picking up on crap that wasn't there. This incident opened my eyes, and I'm so happy to say she's no longer in my life. At the time we knew each other, she spoke about how much she wanted kids and even wanted to adopt in addition to having her own. That's nice. I thought it was great and genuinely warm-hearted plan. She, however, absolutely hated that I didn't want children. Why you fussed about that? It's not your business. Every few months, she'd push the subject, telling me I was weird, I was broken, I changed my mind. It irritated the crap out of me, but I never snapped at her over it because she was my friend. I just assumed it was my brain being sensitive and tried to keep the discussions matter of fact and civil. Don't worry about what other people do in their lives. Stop worrying about. Stop worrying about other people. Worry about yourself. Well, I got sick of that crap after years of it. In the final throwdown, at her friend's wedding of all places, she decides to ambush me. This time at the dinner table with my partner, a combination of our other friends and complete strangers who were all trying to hear speeches. That's when she decided to crack into this old chestnut from across the table, no less. I was pissed. I kept my temper and tried to divert her attention back to the whole reason we were here, that whole wedding thing. After poking and prodding and seeing she's getting nowhere with After poking and prodding and seeing she's getting nowhere, she finally just gets this crap eating smirk and says, "Well, I hope you get pregnant," and goes to turn back around. What the absolute F? So she wishes something on me that I and many, many, many times have said that I want nothing to do with. That's when it clicked. Oh crap, she's not my friend. So from across the table, I loudly reply, "Why would you wish I'd have to get an abortion? That's so effed up to wish that on someone." That was my first thought. People at the other tables heard. She flamed bright red after a minute and left the table in a fluster. She came back after dinner had already been served, so hers was ice cold. She tried coming at me for that made her look and what the F was wrong with me. I blasted her again with everything I'd given her for years about why I didn't want children. Not that you couldn't Not that you need any reason to make that decision for yourself, but I had some very good reason. PTSD, genetic reasons. So why on earth would she wish for me to get pregnant and have a child with potentially very poor quality of life or have to get an abortion? What the F is wrong with you? Final straw for our friendship was actually when she complained to a mutual friend about me being dramatic over a very real breast cancer scare because she has tits. Somehow I don't deserve any sympathy, but that's a whole other story. Yeah, that's a great response. And saying it louder for everybody to hear. That's excellent. Excellent. And let's normalize abortion. It happens. It's okay. Top commenter, some replacement says, "Oof, good response. Something similar happened with an extended family member. For context, I am openly lesbian, so after yet another back and forth on the child-free argument, she goes, 'You never know when a happy accident could happen.' To which I replied, 'It wouldn't be a happy accident, but that mean I got raped.' She immediately complained to her mom, who just said, 'You know she's gay. What'd you expect? Leave her alone.' Good mom. Good mom. Yay for good moms. Yeah, that's excellent. Excellent response. Um, there's a difference between childless and child free. And if somebody doesn't want kids, they should not have kids. I've said that before. I'll say it again. If someone doesn't want kids, they shouldn't have kids. AITH for not completely changing. Oh, this is from Am I the A hole? AITH for not completely changing my kid's life. Just, just to accommodate your father. Typos are bad today. What the heck? I, 35 female, was with my ex, Tom, 40 male, for a few years before having our daughter, 10F, 10 female. When she was a few weeks old, he moved out and in with some other girl and has rarely been involved. Oh, he sounds like a winner. I finally put him on child support a few years ago, and you'd think he was the father of the year for paying $300 a month. That's really low child support, really low. This guy must not even have a job. He never really had custody. I never kept her from him. I never kept her from him, but I wasn't going to chase him around trying to force him to be involved. Fair. Last year, he remarried Peggy, 45 female, and is now asking for more custody. Obviously, I talked to my daughter's therapist and agreed to every other weekend for now. I'm not forcing my kid to change her life just because Tom wants to play family. Honestly, that won't last long. The problem is that Tom and Peggy's house is just miserable for my daughter. I'm trying to keep her positive about it, but honestly, they're just not the kind of people or behavior she's used to. They yell a lot. They don't care about hygiene or keeping a clean house. Nothing CPS would do anything about, but it does not meet normal standards, much less mine. She hates Peggy's kids. There are five, but two are older and on their own. But she has a 17-year-old son, daughter 12, and a son my daughter's age, and they are basically feral. There's just no supervision over there, always on their phones, so no structure. Oh, and Peggy is an anti-vaxxer, so there's that whole situation. Ooh, yeah, I might have issues with that myself. My daughter plays soccer, and they were 45 minutes late to the game last weekend, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal. She was texting me, freaking out that she'd be late when I called Tom, and he screamed at me for calling. Okay, there's going to have to be some changes there. It looks like. But they're not responsible enough to get her to her soccer on time. 45 minutes late, you've missed most of the game. Why bother? Um, and depending on the type of soccer it is, it's very important to be there on time. Yeah, warm-ups. Actually, you should be there early because you got warm-ups and coaches usually are, amping up the kids and stuff. Tom and Peggy also live out in the boonies. It's about a 35. Tom and Peggy also live out in the boonies. It's about a 25 to 30-minute drive from my house to theirs. That's not that far. That's really not that far. Depending on where you live, it could be 15, less than 15 miles. I told him when he started coming around that I had no intention of driving hours or changing any aspects of our lives to accommodate him, and he promised it wouldn't be a problem. Now here we are. He's saying that we need to set up a meeting point or switch off handovers. That's fair. I'm already pissed that my daughter needs to be in a car for so long just because Peggy needs to have a lot of property. I told him no way. He was the one that chose to live so far from us. He can do the driving. No, I don't agree with that. Like, it needs to be 50-50. He only has her a couple days. Um, you had a kid with this guy, and I know that he was out of the picture for a long time, but the driving part needs to be 50-50, unless somebody agrees otherwise. Finally, his most outrageous request has been to take my kid out of her school. She got into her district's competitive magnet school, which is not easy, and we both worked hard. For me just filling out the forms and setting up meetings, she got in on her own merits. Tom says that his stepkids, that apparently he's adopting, by the way, lol, are jealous of what my daughter gets to do at school, and he wants to enroll her in her public school. Not happening. No, no, that should not happen. She worked hard to get in that school. He can get his kids in that school if they qualify. Hmm, probably don't qualify. So sad for you. My daughter has male role models who actually care about her well-being and not just social media clout. Tom says Tom can say he'll go to court, but I'll believe that when I see it. He has no gumption, and honestly, I doubt a judge would side with him anyway. I've always had full custody. I've never kept her from him. But I need to stick up for my kid. Does that make me the a-hole? No. I mean, other than the driving thing, no. Probably the vaccination stuff will come up next. I mean, that would be a good way to get her to not go on visits. Like, I don't know what they got. They could have measles. Measles is dangerous. Ask Ashley, that's me. Says, stop these visits, lawyer up. Your daughter isn't happy going there. What are you doing? And somebody else says, this her opinion counts. If she doesn't want to go, she shouldn't have to go. How old is she again? She's only 10. So yeah, she kind of has to go until she's at least 12. But I worry about the other kids and what they're doing to her too. Hopefully they're not bullying her and stuff. 10 to, what was it, 5? 17-year-olds, 3. One on 3 would be pretty bad if they were bullying her. That would be really sad. And they're jealous of her, which is not going to help the situation. Yeah, that's a sad situation. I feel sorry for her daughter. I feel sorry for the daughter. It's a hard place to be in. Chances are this isn't going to last very long. He's going to lose interest again, would be my guess. Right now it's just a novelty. But once she says, no, I'm not taking her out of school. No, I'm going to keep vaccinating her. I honestly thought they wanted her taken out of school and homeschooled. I was afraid they were homeschooling their kids. They seem like the type. But that's good. I guess it's good that their kids are going to school. But yeah, your kids are not this kid. And it's okay to adopt your stepkids, but this does not seem like the kind of guy who's going to stick around. Our penultimate read is Neighbors from Hell, entitled, I set up a trail camera on my own property facing down my public road. This is a vent rant. As the title describes, I live in the mountains and I set up a trail cam on my own property, very low facing down the public road. I live in an area with lots of coyote action, and lately there have been 2 big guys playing in the road and I would love to capture. My neighbor across the street saw me putting it up and lost his mind and told me to take it down immediately. He doesn't want anything facing his house, and if he sees it, he will call the cops or shoot it. Was on a prop on my own property, very low. His tone and the way he talked to me was incredibly aggressive. I assured him the camera was not facing into his house. I was doing it for the coyote, and his temper got worse, ending up taking it down. But what would you do in this situation? Something to add, he has multiple cameras and everyone on the street has Ring cameras. Put it back up. It's on your property. You can, and it's not pointed at his house. What's he doing? What's he doing that he does not want um, you recording his property? One of my friends has a trail cam on her driveway. She caught a cougar the other day. And if they, in some places, it's literally illegal for him to come on your property and destroy your camera. So there's that also. I learned that the other day. I forgot where. Somewhere on Reddit, probably. Um, so yeah, if he destroys or takes the camera, he can get in trouble. Mama welder. Ooh, good for mama. Put it back up with others. One point at it to show him taking it down someday. That way you'll have proof for the cops. I have three late influence says, okay, just making sure that's what it said. I have three trail cameras in my yard. One is a decoy that is in a tree halfway down the driveway, super visible. It could actually roll down the window in a car and grab it off the tree. If you're doing that, there's a camera in the woods 90 degrees to the left, getting a good shot of you doing that. There's also one down the driveway you missed. It's recording good HD video of your license plate. Coat the back with anti-seize. I want a trail cam. I want a trail cam. Well, I want a camera from the driveway, but I want a camera out in the backyard because we get all kinds of wildlife here too. I did catch a coyote in my yard once. Just having a interaction with a deer, and I think the deer was trying to get it away from its baby. Last one for the day is petty revenge. I have no idea who you are at class reunion. This is a little long for a petty revenge one. Excuse me. My high school had our 25th class reunion over Labor Day weekend. We hadn't managed to put together a reunion since our sparsely attended 5-year. We went to a small college prep school. Our class had 72 kids, where everyone knew each other, and because it was so small, you could bounce between activities, so there weren't a lot of cliques. High school was mostly fine for my best friend John, names changed, and I, except for one guy, Tom, who wasn't so much as a bully as just a general dick to the smarter kids in the class. Why are Toms so mean? He constantly made jokes at our expense and pranked us with things like getting a bunch of fake invites to a fake party at my parents' house or starting a rumor that he'd seen John kissing a girl who was a lesbian. Yeah, he sounds like a dick. John founded a company in his late 20s and has done done very, very well for himself. He, and to some extent myself, have raised a lot of money for a local charity over the years, and recently he spearheaded the construction of a STEM center to be jointly run by several area schools, including our high school. His name got put on the building. That's nice. He has given him a pretty public profile and made him somewhat locally famous. Yes, his parents had some money, but he has far outpaced them. His company has a marketing assistant that has helped get his name in the news, including being featured by our high school's alumni newsletters and social media. They also manage his social media accounts because he gave up a few years ago due to time and professionalism. All this has nothing to do with ego. He's an awesome guy, but knows that his company's profile and revenue has risen because of his personal profile. That's fair. Tom has, since college, always been kind of a flashy, self-promoting grifter, get-rich-quick guy. Because of social media, I know he first tried to be a white rapper DJ in the early 2000s and has bounced from car sales to some real estate investing thing that sounded more like a mortgage fraud. I'm in construction and RE. Not sure what RE is. Real estate. It's what it is. I'm in construction and real estate, so I can recognize that crap. To some PE sounding investment group, and now has some crypto bro thing going on. Through the years, he has heavily promoted himself on social media and even tried to do the whole pay me to teach you investment strategy thing. He even DM'd me a few times with investment opportunities, to which I never responded. Fast forward to last week. John hosted part of the reunion at his house/barn. He has several acres, about 50 alumni plus spouses, and probably 20 kids showed up. That's nice. John and I and our spouses and a few friends pretty much camped out on chairs on the side patio and mostly don't bother to mingle. We're all drinking and catching up. Mid evening, Tom came over to us to glad hand John. John stayed calm and exchanged general pleasantries, but quickly Tom launched into some BS. You know you have you know you haven't done yeah. You know you have done well, but you could make a lot more money in crypto. Oh jeez. John interrupted with, "I'm sorry, I didn't catch." John interrupted him with, "I'm sorry, I didn't catch who you were here with. Is your wife one of our classmates?" You could tell Tom was a bit taken back. "No, man, I'm Tom. We're classmates. Don't you remember I used to razz you?" John scratched his head and said, "Not really. I think I have a pretty good memory of our class, but I don't remember you at all." Then John got serious while giving a small wave to the event planner, Ashley, nearby. "Listen, I get approached all the time like this because of." Oh, okay. Listen, I get approached all the time like this because of my business. I get it. But this is my home and a private event. Then looking at Ashley, "Hey, can you take a moment to verify the guest list? I'm not sure what's going on here. Thanks." Oh. Ashley then addressed Tom while giving a big fake smile. "Right this way, sir. We just need to verify your ID against the guest list. I'm sorry. I hope you understand." Tom followed her off in a bit of a huff. John sat back down while giving me a wink and then said to the group, "It's unfortunate. I have to be careful." Someone else piped up, "Yeah. Yeah, that was Tom. He was in our class." John kind of shrugged and said, "Huh, must not have interacted with him much," then changed the subject. 20 or so minutes later, Tom returned with a classmate who had largely organized the weekend. He had been friends with him in high school. She said, "I hear you don't remember Tom. He was in our class for all 4 years. He played on the football team." John again shrugged and said, "I'm sorry. Sometimes people just fail to leave an impression on me. I hope you enjoy my home and have a lovely weekend." At that, he turned to his wife and said, "Now let's check on the important people and make sure the kids are having fun. If you miss this, the kids are the important people." John texted me a few minutes later and said, "That was fun." Oh, that's excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Love it. Oh, yeah. So just pretend that you're bullies in high school. You don't remember them. There are some people in high school that know me and I don't remember anything about them. It's sad. But so it happens when you have aphantasia and severely um ah, now I can't remember the name of it. Never mind. We'll cut that out. All right. Well, that's all I got for today. You all have a lovely day. Goodbye, biddies. Love you. Take care.